It's completely imploded. Lady Colin Campbell, over our little Christmas break, we literally saw Archewell end as any actual real charity. We saw all of the rats finally abandon the sinking ship of the Sussexes, including the propagandists in chief, Meredith Main and James Holt. And we've seen the truth about Was Never completely exposed, by the way, to the point that I arrived home and Alan had bought me, as a joke, one of these Was Never candles. And look, it's such cheap tack. You can actually even show you, look, no wick in the candle whatsoever. And Lady C, it stinks like soap. It's gross. But I just thought this was utterly indicative of what happened over the Christmas break. The wheels have come off well and truly. Now, of course, Lady Colin Campbell, here on Outspoken and on your brilliant YouTube channel, we have been reporting the truth about this for months and months and months. But to see them have to acknowledge that effectively what they set out to achieve when they went to America is now over, and that they can't even afford staff members on six-figure salaries anymore, it's pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
To show that there is such a thing as justice
and
in
karma.
Life. You know? Oh, Dan, I'm sorry. One tail left guy.
You're so sad for them. You're so sad for them. But what's really happened here? What's really going on here? Because all of this topspin about, oh, we're continuing Archewell as a charity with Archie and Lily. Oh, but we're just going to have to get private sponsors. Bullshit. I mean, this is now an out-and-out commercial operation, is it not?
Well, it always was an out-and-out commercial operation. But it was an out-and-out commercial operation that they were able to pretend was something that it wasn't. Now that they don't have the funds to present the facade of a great philanthropic enterprise, which of course it was never a great philanthropic exercise in any event, because I mean, you know, they were giving, unless it was to Biden's daughter, they were giving 20,000 here, 10,000 there. And it really was a money laundering exercise to save themselves money and to get in funding so that they could take advantage of the tax laws and wash the funds so that they could spread them very thinly. I mean, I've done shows on how their, thanks to my accounting genius, on how their tax returns show how they have literally sort of, in a series of companies, you know, taken the money, the funds, and very limited funds. Started at 13 million, it's down to less than about 7 million now. And which is nothing when you stop to think that some great philanthropic enterprises will give away 50 million in one go. So it was always a penny ante operation, posing as something it wasn't. But basically, it was a commercial enterprise that was presenting itself as if it were a philanthropic enterprise, so that they would be able to benefit financially and reputationally. And the whole deck of cards has come tumbling down because they have not had any of the commercial and financial success that they were hoping for. They have only had two successes. The first was, and that was a Netflix success with them, was their, you know, life story, whatever it's, however you want to call it. Right? They did this, I think it was a 6-part series of their lives. That was a commercial success. And they benefited to the tune of a few $1 million. They never, ever benefited to the tune of $100 million, never. So that was a success. Everything else has been a failure except for Spare. But Spare and the the Netflix documentary have not been able to sustain, and they have been bleeding money left, right, and center. And now that Netflix is no longer supporting the enterprises, you can see the problems. And recently, in the last few days, there has been an expose of the degree of stock which they have. And I did the figures on it. And I mean, they are, if they are the ones who bought in this stock, they are significantly out of pocket. And people seem to not remember, and that when you're dealing with food stuff, everything has a sell-by date. So admittedly, spreads, jams have a reasonably longer sell-by date than more perishable foodstuffs, but everything has a sell-by date. And Meghan trying to present this as a global, that she is laying in stock for a global product launch is ludicrous, because you would have had a global product launch when you had the original launch. You wouldn't have a national product launch, then a global product launch if you were going to have a global product launch. So this is yet another attempt on her part to try to spin a failure as if it is a success. But the whole thing is, never were people more richly deserving of coming a cropper than Meghan and Harry, because they have done it as nastily and as viciously and as affectedly and as artificially as they could have done it. And quite frankly, I'm delighted to see that their business model, their modus operandi has failed, because their modus operandi is anti-life. It is anti anything positive. It is destructive. It is not constructive. And I don't know who Meghan thought she was, that she was some hotshot financial genius, because I've been warning for some time now that the business model that they were propounding, it was guaranteed to fail. I mean, I know this because I come from a family that was in business, and you know, business is really very simple. 2 and 2 makes 4. You're going to make a profit. You don't spend £5 to sell things for £3 in the hope that enough of them are going to sell that you're going to come out with an advance when you can't. I mean, the whole thing has been ill-considered from the word go. But he's dumb, and she is, quite frankly, arrogant and incapable of learning. So I'm not surprised that it's happened.
Not at all. Not at all surprised. But the figures are astonishing, actually. And she is now just point blank lying to her friends in the mainstream media. I mean, the Royal News Network crunched the numbers. And remember, there's been no denial from Meghan's team, or as ever, in terms of the actual statistics being wrong. No denial that the statistics on the website are wrong. The only denial is over the presentation of the statistics as a failure. And Lady C, for example, in a 24-hour period, she sold none of her cider mulling kits whatsoever. I mean, she's got 14,000 of them in stock. When it came to the jam, she sold 9 over a 24-hour period. And Royal News Network crunched the numbers to work out that overall, generously, Lady C, in a 24-hour period, she sold something like 0.3% of her stock. Now, even if you're very generous and you say, okay, it's January, it's a little bit more quiet. I mean, even if you times the number by 1,000, this is still one of the worst business launches ever. Then you get to the fact, Lady C, that the product is so cheap and so nasty and tastes terrible. And trust me, when it comes to that candle, not only can I not light it, it smells like a piece of rubbish too. So she's not building up any loyalty whatsoever. I mean, I just can't see how Was Never, as you brilliantly nicknamed it, can survive this.
Well, it can't, and it won't. It won't. You know, Dan, they have had to recalibrate their operation by getting rid of all of the main people. That is not a sign of retrenchment for success. That is a sign of retrenchment for survival. They're not able to survive. I don't think they're... Wait and see, because my figures were that on one day she sold 4 bottles of jam in total. You know, I can sell more than 4 bottles of jam, and I'm not selling any.
It's like a little garage sale, isn't it? So, Lady C, how much financial trouble are they in? Are they going to be able to afford to stay in the house, for example?
Well, that again is something else, isn't it? Because, you know, the house has a massive mortgage. Land tax in California is high. Maintenance costs are high. They're all, you know, are they going to be able to, or are they going to have to move to Florida? And if they move to Florida, where are they going to move to? Because if they move to Palm Beach, I can tell you something, nobody's going to want to see them. If they move to Naples, they're going to run slap bam into a very strong royalist community there. If they move to Sarasota, you can forget that, because that's, you know, very old world. Where are they going to move to? And maybe the Jerry Mayans will be right. Maybe they'll have to move back to England, which I don't see happening.
No, I mean, the cold, hard reality is, though, Lady C, and this is what makes a lot of people who still support Harry angry. I mean, I don't, as you know, but how are they affording the mortgage on the house? Well, they're burning through his inheritance. They're burning through the money left by Princess Diana. They're burning through the money left by the Queen Mother. And remember, she didn't want him to get his hands on that money until he was 40, because I guess the assumption there from a very wise woman was that, oh, well, by 40, he's going to have his life together enough to the extent where he's not going to waste that money. Well, I wonder how she'd feel if she knew that he was wasting this money on a mansion that he could never afford and that he never even wanted to be in.
The opening is deliberately savage and intentionally humiliating. Harry is painted as a man living a life he never wanted, drifting into a California existence defined by low ambition, escapism, and inertia. The language is cruel by design, but it taps into a growing public perception. This is not a man building an empire, this is a man hiding from responsibility. The implication is devastating. Harry didn't choose this life because he believed in it, he drifted into it because it was easy. This is the core accusation that drives the entire segment. The claim that Meghan promised Harry global domination will be bigger than William and Catherine reframes Megxit not as an escape, but as a hostile takeover attempt that failed. The UK and Commonwealth dismissed as leftovers. America framed as the true prize. This isn't about freedom. It's about competition, ego, and supremacy. Here the commentary pivots sharply. Yes, Meghan faked it and made it socially. Yes, she mastered optics, branding, and performance. But commerce doesn't care about vibes. Accountants don't applaud confidence. Cash registers don't respect delusion. This is where the Sussex myth begins to collapse under something far more ruthless than the press: math. This is presented as the smoking gun. Archewell isn't being restructured. It's being abandoned. Staff exits. Donor silence. Rebranding gymnastics involving the children. The message is clear: the charity facade has cracked beyond repair. The rats leaving the sinking ship imagery is deliberate and brutal because the narrative here is finality, not transition. The no-wick candle story isn't trivial, it's symbolic. A product that looks expensive promises luxury can't even perform its basic function. It becomes the perfect metaphor for the entire Sussex brand, polished on the outside, hollow at the core. Lady C dismantles the illusion. Archewell is described not as philanthropy, but as a tax-efficient structure, a reputational shield, a thinly spread money loop. Compared to real charities giving tens of millions, Archewell's figures look embarrassingly small. The conclusion is damning. This was never about charity. It was about image laundering. The analysis becomes surgical. 2 wins. Netflix documentary. Spare. Both are one-time explosions, not sustainable engines. You can only sell grievance once. You can't build an empire on betrayal without eventually running out of people to betray. Netflix steps back and suddenly the cracks widen. This is where the segment goes from critical to catastrophic. Expired stock. Absurd overordering. A fantasy of a global launch that defies basic business logic. Food products have sell-by dates. You don't store up jam for global domination. The accusation is simple. This wasn't strategy, it was delusion dressed as ambition. Lady C delivers the moral verdict. This failure isn't tragic, it's earned. The business model is described as anti-constructive destructive, fueled by spite rather than service. The collapse isn't unfortunate, it's inevitable.
I mean, if you stop to think, the whole thing is crazy.
Yeah.
Because Harry has a life he never wanted and didn't aspire to and had no interest in. Okay, admittedly, the California lifestyle suits him. You know, smoke as much dope as you want and bum around all day and do as little work as you can. And so it's a lifestyle that suits him. Whether he aspired to it or not is beside the point. But Meghan is the one who aspired to all of this, and it's been done off Harry's money. And let's remember who's made the money. Harry has made the money through Spare, because Harry and Meghan have made no great deal of money through Netflix. As I said, the only thing with Netflix that actually was profitable was their documentary. And the figures of $100 million was always ludicrous. But so between the money Harry has made, which then, so they have to pay tax on their earnings. Everybody pays tax on their earnings in America. If you earn the money in America, you pay tax on it in America. And so aside from that, it's the inheritance aspect of it. But I would be very surprised if some of it isn't carefully ring-fenced, so they can't burn their way through any more of it. And they burnt their way through as much as they can, and that's why they've had to let everybody go. Because they went to America. Meghan promised Harry, who is very and has always been very attention-seeking. When people think that Harry doesn't share the desire for attention that Meghan has, they're quite wrong. You know, William and Catherine are perfectly happy to be private and low-key. Harry has always loved being the center of attention. And Meghan promised Harry, we will be bigger than William and Catherine. We go back to California, I guarantee I'm going to make us bigger than William and Catherine will ever be. They can have the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. I will give you the rest of the world. Well, it's not worked out. And all of their pretensions about global this, global that, the global communications officer, like they were the resident global royal couple throughout the whole of the globe, has turned out to be yet more Meghan Markle doing her typical thing of, if you fake it, you're going to make it. Well, she's discovering sometimes when you fake it, you make it. And we certainly know that she's faked it and made it very well in many ways. But she hadn't faked it and made it commercially, because accountants and cash registers are not the same thing as peeling bananas and nibbling on them.
No, they're not. They're not. Lady C, we were obviously off over the post-Christmas period. But sometimes it is just worth looking back because there were some delightful moments. And I've been really wanting to talk to you about what went down on Christmas Day. And actually, whether you think it's appropriate, Lady C, I mean, before we come to it, can I just ask you, is it appropriate for a member of the public to raise Princess Diana with William and Catherine's children, even if done so in a very positive manner?
No, I don't see any reason why not. I mean, they're all human beings, and and he was saying something very nice.
No, I agree. I agree. I found it totally delightful, actually. And there are lots of delightful moments. Okay, so let's look at them. First, Charlotte, Princess Charlotte, very much shining in her role at a young age. And there was a great moment, actually, where she just sort of ran over and hugged a member of the public with no hesitancy. Watch this. And then, of course, we came to the conversation between Prince William and John. And John is the one who wanted to tell the kids in regards to Princess Diana.
I've got this for you.
John,
First of all, happy Christmas, William.
Very happy Christmas.
First, I've got something to say to you.
Here he comes here, John.
I've got something to say. First of all,
Hello.
George,
happy Christmas.
John.
Happy Christmas,
Charlotte.
George. Happy Christmas, Charlotte.
Happy Christmas.
George, I've got something to say to you. Nanny Diana would be ever so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right? I'm proud of you all. All right?
That's very kind of you, John.
And first of all, I've got to tell you this.
No, you've got a big one. That one's for you.
Where have you brought that from?
John Lewis.
It's George's the same size as you, Louis. You have to carry her back.
Sean, you've got
So
your
I carry the
book.
chocolates and you carry the teddy.
I can't believe how tall George is getting.
Thank you so much.
You take me, John.
He's got to be tall. He's got to be about 6
He
foot 4.
sounds like
Oh, one day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
George.
happy Christmas.
God bless
Merry
you.
Christmas.
And watch
Merry
George.
Christmas.
Give my blessings to all your family. And Diana would be ever so proud of you. You're baby. All right? Bless you.
Bless him, he couldn't get away quick enough. But there was a great moment. And again, Lady C, it's just in one of those small instances where you saw after that happened, Charlotte came across and just patted George's back. If we look at this, so it's very brief, but it just shows, she's got her brother's back. There, look, just a little tap to say I'm with you. Anyway, then Catherine comes along and has a conversation with John as well.
They've been given to
Did you
William.
see William and the children?
I did.
Hooray.
And I
Good.
said to your son, George, I said, Diana Granny would be ever so proud of you, George.
Aww,
and you know what he said to me? He was very
I
touched.
agree.
And I said to William, your husband, I said, he's going to be 6 foot 4. He's going to be taller than you.
I know. I swear he's catching up with
So
everybody.
These
isn't
are
he?
especially for you.
That is so kind of
And
you. Thank you so
and
much.
you always have my prayers.
Aw,
Always have been. I
thank
pray for you all
you.
the time.
That
And
is
they
so
Oh,
all know that at the Westminster Abbey I've come to see you.
Oh, good.
Right?
I hope you had a good sing
And I'm
along this
glad, and I'm glad to
afternoon.
share Christmas with you.
Hello, very nice to see you.
Catherine, this is for you.
Thank you.
Don't leave them.
You
These
are
are special
so
ones.
I know they are very special. I love the colours.
They've
The
all
roses.
come from Clapham Junction.
You are
London.
so kind. Well, hopefully I'll see you at our next engagement.
I will do. Bless
Thank
you.
you. Happy Christmas. You too. Very nice to meet you. These for me too. Oh my goodness, everyone's so generous. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Lady C, quite delightful interactions with John. What did you think?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, Dan, that Catherine says, I hope to see you at our next engagement. So that is obviously somebody that they know who follows them.
Exactly.
And-
Bit of a super fan.
And I mean, everybody in public life has super fans, I suppose you could call them. I mean, you do, I do.
Prince
the
Harry
royals
calls them
do.
stalkers. Ha!
Well, this is the point I'm making. It's treacherous and it's disloyal to call somebody who is a genuine fan and who is there because they are genuinely fond of you, to turn that love into something loathsome. is dreadful. But no, I think that Catherine and William and the children are growing up to understand that their role is, to an extent, a matter of idealization. They are representing idealized forms of the citizenry and of governance. And, so they're not going to be, I'm not in the mood today, and nobody's asked me how I am, and I'm so suffering. It's thank you so much, lovely to see you. And it's all very idealized. They look good, they present themselves well, they're there to have idealized interactions. They're genuine, but they're idealized. And this is what royalty is all about. It is an idealization of the better aspects of our lives.
Indeed, indeed. I thought it was a very nice scene. You're completely right. We see Harry and Meghan increasingly acting like the most vile, Z-list Hollywood celebrities. And look, she's always been that. But he's now that too. To the point of calling a woman from Africa who travels all over the world to see them a stalker just in order to boost his security case. And yet you see with the way that William and Catherine are raising their children that they absolutely know the role that they are going to play. And I think it's looking pretty clear to me. I know it's very early days that this suggestion that George will obviously take on a role. I mean, he's the future king, but probably ably supported by Charlotte as a full-time royal. You can see that that's how it's looking. And then the jury's still out on Louis. They're going to wait to see what he wants to do. But very lovely stuff. Great to have you back, Lady Colin Campbell. Happy New Year, and we will speak very soon. Of course, make sure you do subscribe.
This is the most lethal section. 0 cider kits sold in 24 hours. 9 jars of jam 0.3% stock movement. Even with generous excuses, the launch is branded one of the worst ever. Luxury pricing. Cheap quality. No loyalty. A garage sale with a title. Staff layoffs aren't framed as streamlining, but panic. This is not growth. This is retrenchment to avoid collapse. The brand isn't scaling down to rebuild. It's shrinking to survive. This is where public sympathy hardens into anger. The claim that Harry is funding this lifestyle by burning through Diana's inheritance, the Queen Mother's money, strikes a nerve. The implication is brutal. Generational wealth intended for security is being incinerated on ego. A crucial distinction is made. Harry enjoys the lifestyle. Meghan aspired to the empire. But the money? Harry earned it, Meghan spent it. The bigger-than-William and Catherine dream is revisited, now exposed as fantasy. Global royal pretensions. Global communications officers. Global irrelevance. The central thesis returns and lands harder. Faking confidence works socially. It doesn't work commercially. You can't will profits into existence. The Sussex brand wasn't sabotaged by the press, it collapsed under its own contradictions. The tone shifts, intentionally. William, Catherine, and their children are shown as grounded, warm, instinctively royal. Charlotte's quiet gestures. George's composure. Catherine's ease. This isn't performative authenticity, it's lived stability. The most damning comparison lands here. Where William and Catherine see supporters, Harry sees threats. Calling admirers stalkers to boost security cases is framed as morally bankrupt. Love weaponized into fear. This wasn't a bad year for Harry and Meghan. This was the bill coming due. A business built on grievance. A brand built on envy. A strategy built on fantasy. And fantasy always collapses when faced with reality. Now I want to hear your honest view. Do you believe Meghan promised Harry global dominance and failed? Was Archewell ever a real charity, or always a commercial front? Are Harry and Meghan victims of bad press or victims of their own arrogance? Should Diana's inheritance ever have been used to fund this lifestyle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you think the Sussex business model has finally collapsed. Share if this breakdown said what mainstream media won't. Subscribe for uncensored royal comments.